The next Mass Effect is still some years away, but a strong debate continues about what should happen in the next installment. The main point of that being, should Shepard return? This is a question that a lot of people are asking themselves, and it seems the community is somewhat split on it. BioWare themselves said after the release of Mass Effect 3 that Shepard's story was done, completed, they've reached the end of their journey. But after the lukewarm reception of Andromeda, I can't blame BioWare for thinking that bringing back Shepard is pretty much a surefire win. But is it? The ending to the original trilogy, whether you liked the Mass Effect 3 ending or not, had a finality to it. It wrapped up pretty much as many loose story threads as expected. It was a definitive ending that, for all intents and purposes, finished and rounded off the story of Commander Shepard. Enter Mass Effect Andromeda, and while not the worst game, some ideas were good and the combat was great, but in terms of a well-written main character, a strong story, and world building, for me at least, it wasn't the most hard-hitting. So my plan for this first video of many, focusing on various sci-fi and fantasy games, past, present and future, is to throw a few points down to see if I can figure out myself if I want and think Shepard should return, and then I'll throw it over to you all to see what you think, and who knows, if this video gets enough comments, I'll think about doing a commenters edition video at some point in the future. So looking back at the trilogy, there were 4 endings. Your standard red, green and blue endings, Destroy, Synthesis and Control. And you also had the Refusal ending, which was added later as part of the Extended Cut DLC. That fleshed out the original endings a bit more. There is one common thread with 3 of these 4 endings. Shepard does not survive. In the Control and Synthesis endings, Shepard is broken down into nothing more than energy, leaving no trace of their body behind. And in the Refusal ending, going by the recording left by Liara, her, Shepard and the others are no longer around, likely having long since passed on due to, quite simply, time passing by. Only the Destroy ending leaves us with any real hope of Shepard surviving, and that's only if you get a high enough EMS score, which obviously is now different in the Legendary edition of the game due to no multiplayer being included. But if you do get good EMS, you get the extra scene of Shepard taking a single breath amongst a lot of debris and rubble, indicating that Shepard has indeed survived. So now that we've had a brief recap, let's get into some points. Going by what the new trailer shows, it seems that BioWare may be hedging their bets with the Destroy ending as canon, mainly due to the fact that we see dead Reapers strewn about, and even Liara climbing up one. In that same trailer, we also see a scene of a non-functioning mass relay with a ton of debris floating around it. In another smaller teaser released by BioWare, a poster teaser of a ship that has landed near a crater of what looks like Element Zero, you can see at least a few dead or deactivated Geth laying on the floor, indicating that they were affected by the Destroy ending's energy burst, another indication that Destroy ending may end up being canon. The point I'm angling at here is that if Shepard is going to come back somehow, the only feasible ending to continue from would be Destroy, but even that would come with some potential caveats, seeing as Liara looks visibly older in the trailer, though this could be just higher definition detail due to the new game moving back to Unreal Engine. But there is also a comment from a former journalist back in 2021, Liana Rupert, then working for Game Informer, who said that they had heard from a source of BioWare that Liara is older now, around 800 years old at this point, so the game definitely takes place further down the timeline.
And I feel like if you're interested in the future, obviously we know Liara's much older. I would put her at now around 800 years, given off the trailer, and also I've confirmed that she's much older with the BioWare devs as well. So we know it's very much set in the future.
The game is still in pre-production though. The story beats and pacing could well have changed over the last 4 years since this comment, and the span of time could have significantly shortened to fit a returning Shepard in. But right now, due to this longer than usual pre-production cycle at BioWare for the next Mass Effect, we just don't know much at this point. From a story standpoint, if you're going to bring Shepard back in a way that makes sense to what has come before, you have to go with the destroy ending. For me, this is fine, as I almost always went with the destroy ending in my multiple playthroughs, but what about all the players that went for either control or synthesis? I'm assuming very few people went for the refusal ending. Will BioWare be able to make players feel like their final choice isn't going to be for nothing? I'm interested to see what happens. I know that they have done the Genesis comic in the past, which has helped new players to the original trilogy get a point-by-point of what happened if they've not played the game before, and still get to make those choices. But would this work going into a brand new game where we are in the complete unknown as to what happened after this galactic scale major event? I'm not so sure. Things have to make sense. They have to work if Shepard is to return. It has to respect the story that has come before. I do have a theory as to why we're seeing so many hints leaning towards the destroy ending so early in pre-development. So if you do want to see a video on that, let me know, because I have a half-written script on it that I've left alone for over a year now, that I could definitely go back to if you want me to, of course. And as well, Michael Gamble, if I'm remembering correctly, did put out a tweet or something on social media saying that they plan to respect people's decisions in regards to ending choice in the original trilogy. Although, for all the potatoes in this universe, I cannot find that tweet. I'm very sorry. Another point which I alluded to slightly at the beginning is, would bringing Shepard back be the big win that BioWare are looking for? There is such a thing as having too much over-reliance on a main character, that it could end up having a potentially negative effect on the franchise. Another game franchise that I've loved in the past is Halo, but poor old Master Chief must be getting tired at this point. Even for an augmented super soldier, the guy is still human. Chief has been the main character in 6 mainline Halo games at this point. The Halo 5 campaign is questionable, I know, but let me have this. And while I do love that character, I feel like there are so many opportunities to tell other stories in the Halo universe slipping through the cracks, because this one character is consistently used and maybe not always to the greatest of effect. Obviously, nostalgia would play a huge part in Shepard returning. A decently sized chunk of the community would love to see Shepard back. Part of me would too, but are we maybe being a little too reliant on that nostalgia? Don't get me wrong, if I saw a big character from one of my favourite franchises make a sudden and unexpected return, you're damn right I'm going to fanboy all over the place. But as I've gotten older and a more sensible and rational side to me has slowly crept in, I know full well that after the dust had settled, I would question whether it was really the best for the story of the Mass Effect universe, and best for us, if Shepard were to return. The term nostalgia is defined as a bittersweet longing for things, persons, or situations of the past. This could not be truer for this debate. Longing for our Shepard because we have a feeling that maybe, just maybe, everything will be okay or better if they were to return. We've also spent countless hours connecting with our Shepard and the choices we made in our, let's be honest, multiple playthroughs. But would it make everything better if Shepard did return? Does the Mass Effect franchise need Shepard in every game to be considered a success? I'm not sure. I do believe a main character can overstay their welcome and have a negative impact on the franchise. Even with the implants and mods Shepard received as part of the Lazarus project in Mass Effect 2, it can't extend their life by that much, can it? They are still human after all. Humans still age and eventually meet their end. Mass Effect has such a vast, deep lore and universe where so many new stories can be written from the past, present, and future, where BioWare can absolutely write new stories, both big and small, that have just as much heart and impact as the original trilogy did. And Shepard doesn't necessarily have to be there for it to succeed. I know that people will say to me that Andromeda was a case in point that Shepard needs to come back, and I'm not going to entirely deny that. I enjoyed Andromeda in parts, but like I said earlier, the main story wasn't as solid for me as the trilogy was. There may have been a lot of newer devs involved in Andromeda's development, especially within the writing team, but in a way I'm glad something new was at least tried. Andromeda may not have landed for a lot of people, but if you don't take some risks every so often, you'll never learn anything new, what works and what doesn't. So at the very least, I'm grateful that BioWare gave a chance to something new and different, even if it meant that the reception of the game will inevitably leave some things unanswered in the universe. As nostalgic as I am for my Shepard to come back, my sensible and slightly more rational, and by that I mean my older 40-year-old side, thinks it may be time to see what happened to the Milky Way galaxy post-Reapers and post-Shepard. I would love to see the state of all the planets and systems that we visited before and how they handled the aftermath of everything. My mind is slightly more excited to see the continuing story of what comes next in the universe, what the next big bad will be, but I won't lie to you, there is still that other part of me that will keep thinking, what if? It will keep thinking if it's really that bad of a thing if Shepard did return. If it can be done in a way that respects everything that's come before and not for some random space magic reason, then why not? I may be torn on this, but now it's time to throw it over to you who watched this video to see what you think. Please do let me know, and as I said before, if I get enough responses, maybe I'll do a community or commenters edition video in the future. I'd also love to dive into some mysteries, theories and questions about other sci-fi and fantasy games and universes, so if you have any suggestions, let me know on one of my social media links down below. Discord is probably best, there is a channel specifically for content suggestions in there, and your comment will get featured in that video if used. But for now, I thank you very much for watching my first video, and if our Shepards are destined to return, maybe, just maybe, there's room for one more story.